In the early 1960s, people realized that they could take their family Beetle and modify it into a machine that would dominate off-road racing. What makes the Baja Beetle so special is its small, compact design. But I want one that's even more special. So I'm gonna make one that's a quarter the weight and a fraction of the size with almost identical horsepower to the original. Here's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna take Amazon's cheapest four-wheeler and combine it with this retro Beetle shell to make the ultimate off-road go-kart. But we're not gonna stop there. We need this thing to be crazy fast, like insanely fast. So we're gonna add a 28,000 watt kit from Electro and CO. This is equivalent to about 50 horsepower. This project is gonna be awesome. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's disassemble this four-wheeler and see what we're working with. Look at all those bonus bolts. This is our kind of Halloween.
Drop them everywhere.
Okay, the four-wheeler frame is fully disassembled. Let's get this go-kart body over here and see if it's gonna fit up. Dude. Oh my gosh.
Okay, we have a problem somewhere, but... Okay. It seems like the four-wheeler's a little short.
Slightly short, but that is dang close.
It looks like a little monster truck.
It looks so cool.
That looks awesome.
Okay, the Amazon four-wheeler is already way closer than I was expecting it to be, but it's just a tad bit too short. So we're gonna have to cut it in half and lengthen it a bit. All right, now that we got our four-wheeler cut in half, let's figure out how much longer we've got to make this thing. The wheelbase on our Amazon four-wheeler is 41 inches, and we're really not that far off. I think it's only a couple of inches. The wheelbase on this go-kart is around 45 inches, so we've got to make two 4-inch long spacers and weld them in. Let's see if I can line this up. Ugh.
It looks like pretty strugglesome, man.
Yeah. Are they gonna line up? Oh, it's so close, dude. Grab the hammer and give it a little nugget.
Nugget a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
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 Now we just gotta weld that together, and that should be pretty solid. What's it looking like, dude?
Oh yeah, that looks way better than it did.
Oh yeah. Dude, that is premium, dare I say. We still got a ton of work, but we've got one massive issue. This is a car, not a four-wheeler. So all of this frame material has got to go. I want to cut all of this out. We need to make room for a seat. I also want to lower the center of gravity because it's just going to make driving this thing a lot more stable. Now, one thing I want to be conscious of when I'm cutting all this metal out is the suspension points. A huge mistake we make in most of our projects is cutting these out and then designing our own, and it never works out. The suspension's always weird. So I'm going to try to keep these two and this one in the back, and then everything else I'll cut out. Got all the metal cut out of our frame, and now we've got a ton of room to work with, but we lost all of our structural integrity, so we're gonna have to build a custom top section frame that fits all of our stuff. I'm thinking the battery's gonna go right here, motor will be right here, and then our seat will be as low as possible to give you the best center of gravity. So when we're designing this frame, we've gotta keep all of that in mind and build something that's gonna work around those parts. getting those measurements like super good, you look intense.
Dude, I hope.
Now you might be wondering why I chose to make the frame a square, and that's because our battery is a long, tall rectangle, so it's gonna fit perfectly right here, and that's gonna be a great battery mount. But the back of our frame is still not supported, so to support it, I'm gonna take 2 bars and come from the square back to the rear part of the frame, and that's where our seat will mount. Our frame's finished up, and I was looking at it and I realized something. It's a little too narrow for the Beetle body to fit on here, and we've got no side protection, which is kind of a problem with a machine like this because it certainly could tip with all that power. So I'm gonna take a bar and just come out a little ways so that we have something to mount the body to and a little protection in case of a rollover. Now we just gotta make one bend on this side, and I think that's gonna work pretty well. I'm quite surprised we actually got these bends right.
I know, on both of them.
We only have a limited amount of 1-inch in the shop right now, so I was kind of worried, but this fits up pretty well. It's a little shorter on this end, a little longer on that end.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's gonna look nice. It might be hard to tack up though. I think I'm gonna hold it, and then if you do the tacks, and then we can weld it full.
Sounds good.
This is looking very nice. It looks kind of odd without the body on it, but trust the process. It's gonna be a body mount. It's also gonna protect us, which none of our other builds do. And it's extremely strong.
I think you could go down with those.
I think you could. You fall down. Whoa. Oh goodness, oh my gosh.
I mean, well, you go down pretty far.
You do, but it's nice to have them. I'm wondering if our body fits because we didn't take any measurements. I'm just realizing now.
Yeah, very slight ones.
We took a couple measurements at the beginning and then just called it a day and welded them in, so let's see. My idea with these is that it's gonna lift the body up a little higher too. So,
Hey.
hey, that is nice. I mean, obviously we don't have an alignment yet, but that's kind of how it's gonna fit up. So we've got those on the side. If you come and check this out, it mounts perfectly to the body. And then in the front, we're just gonna use the 4-wheeler bash bar and bring this down a bit, bolt it through. I'm really curious how high this body lift is and if it's gonna allow us to sit almost in it, because that's what I want to happen.
Dude, it looks close.
It's pretty spacious in here, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, yeah.
Almost. I mean, your shoulders are like almost in it, so that's pretty nice.
You've got tons of room for steering too.
That's good.
I mean, the seat, given the seat is not bolted in yet, it's not even in here at all, but that's pretty good.
That looks awesome, yeah.
That's more room than most bum machines have. So that's gonna work out great. Now, we get to the very super premium part. I cannot wait. We get to show you guys our new power plant. This thing is insane. Now that our frame's finished up and the body's fitting on much better, we gotta get to the meat and potatoes of this build, which is our new electric kit from Electro and CO. This thing is absolutely insane. Let's check it out. This is the kit we're gonna be using. It's Electro and CO's largest electric kit. It makes 28,000 watts with a peak output of 35,000 watts. For reference, our last electric project made 5,000 watts. So, needless to say, this is gonna be absolutely insane. It's equivalent to about 50 horsepower in a gas engine with 1,000,000 times more torque. Let's fit this motor up and see how it's all gonna work. Now, I know the frame on the four-wheeler looks a little unconventional, but it's done that way for a very specific reason. This is where the battery's gonna go, and in the future, it's gonna be boxed in, kind of like a Suron, so that that thing doesn't go anywhere on a massive jump. And this section of the frame is where our motor's gonna go, and it has just enough space to make everything line up so that when the suspension actuates, nothing binds or breaks or does anything weird. Holy cow.
Heavy?
Absolute unit. So the motor is gonna go somewhere like right around here. And then the chain will go straight back to that rear axle. I think it's gonna work great. The first thing I wanna do is figure out some mounts for the motor because this is epically powerful and those mounts are gonna have to be super strong. When we mount our motor, we want it to be at the same height as the pivot point on our suspension because if it's lower or higher, the chain is gonna loosen up when that suspension travels. So to do that, we're gonna be using these two Go Power Sports mounts. I'm just gonna weld them inside the frame we just built and then use the existing mount on the motor, run a bolt through it, and that should work great. We got our top motor mounts welded in and they are super strong. It also has side to side movement, which is gonna make aligning the chain way easier. For our lower mounts, I'm gonna design something in CAD because I wanna utilize all 6 mounting points on that motor. And we would just cut it out on our fancy new arc droid, but we spent all our money on this setup and we didn't have enough money for the compressor. So we're gonna have to do this thing the old fashioned way by printing it out on a piece of paper and transferring that design onto a piece of metal and then making the mount. Okay, so my idea for this motor mount is to make the motor mount single-sided. It's gonna go on this side so the motor can still be removed, and that's the chain side so that when you're ripping down the road, the motor doesn't torque and rip out of the vehicle. Let's jump into the computer and see how we're gonna make this thing. We're gonna be busting out the old calipers. I don't even think we've used these yet.
I don't think they're old calipers, dude. I think they're brand new.
Dude, the instructions and everything are in there. Does it have a battery in it? Heck yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm just gonna take measurements of all 6 mounting holes, and the reason I'm designing it in the computer is to get this exact. I could just draw it out, and you could draw it out if you were building something like this at home, but doing it in CAD is going to make it a lot more exact. So I'm gonna get these measurements, throw them in the computer, and see what I can come up with. All right, so I've got a design on CAD, and I didn't design anything that's gonna go to the frame because we'll just draw that out. But basically this is just a circle with the holes that we need. And I was realizing we don't even have a printer. So we're gonna have to go to the public library, print this out, come back to the shop, and then put it on some metal. Do you think they're gonna be able to print this thing out, dude?
I don't know. Libraries have printers. People print stuff at the library, I think, right? Looks like you got it.
Dude, look at these.
Dang.
That's exactly what we need.
That looks perfect.
Just cut it out, put it on some metal, and we'll have our design. All right, we got our drawing. It's supposed to be 1-to-1. They did a really good job with it. I'm gonna cut it out, put it on our motor, make sure all the holes line up, and then we've gotta figure out how to cut this out of metal. I wasn't really thinking about that when I designed it, and I've gotta figure out how to cut a giant hole on steel, but that's a problem for 5 minutes later will.
That is gonna be insanely hard.
That's gonna be very hard. Let's make sure it fits the motor first and then figure out those problems later. All right, we got our design cut out. Let's see if this thing's gonna fit. It looks right.
It does appear to be correct.
Hallelujah. Dude, that works.
That's pretty good.
Now comes the hard part.
Cutting it out of metal with a grinder?
It's future us time.
We've
got to figure out how to cut not only one circle, but 2 circles. I made it easy on us. I put little dots on CAD where the drill needs to go, but I don't know how we're gonna cut this out. I think with a grinder, and we're just gonna have to go really slow and very careful. All right, here goes nothing. We got Big Bertha.
Huh?
Oh, that outlet's broken, but we got Big Bertha, and we're just gonna give it a shot. I think that it's possible, but I don't know. Well, that took forever, but holy cow, that's hot. We have a design that I think is gonna work quite nicely.
It looks nice.
I think we might have to make these holes a little bit bigger, but we'll drill those out just a tad bit more, bolt it up to our motor, and weld it to our frame. I also made this square instead of cutting out the full circle because 1, it's easier, and 2, we don't really know the rotation of the bolt pattern. So if we just cut out a circle and then try to make a tab off the bottom, it'd be in the wrong spot. So this makes it a lot easier. We'll bolt it up and then we'll refine the design, make it better, make it a little nicer looking, and weld it on. Okay, so we've got our motor plate bolted to the motor and it does work, but after looking at it, I think it looks a bit log style, so I want to take it back off, round these corners, then we'll bolt it up and weld it to the frame. That is much better.
Dude, that looks so much cleaner.
I kind of got to pat myself on the back for this one. Hand cut, no machinery.
Handmade.
I'm pretty happy with it. We didn't have any fancy tools. It just goes to show that all you really need is a grinder and a marker, and you can make anything if you have metal.
You do have to sacrifice time, though.
You have to sacrifice hours of time. When we started talking about this, it was like the middle of the day, and now it's nighttime, but we have our part. Let's weld it in. Is it straight?
I think so.
All right, packing. We have to take the motor out to weld this whole bracket on there, and I'm very curious to see if it's gonna come out. I designed it so it should be able to come out, but you never know.
I think it'll come out, but I do think it might be kind of a pain to get back in.
Because it's got to slide. It's got to do like a weird slide. Well,
Slide and twist.
it's the time of truth. That's a real finger jammer right there.
Yeah.
Oh, easy peasy.
Super easy.
That's ridiculously easy. That might be easier than any other project here.
For a motor mount, oh yeah.
Dude, I love electric projects. They're just so much easier. This kind of stuff for go-karts, quite premium. I still like the gas stuff, but for building, you can't beat that. Nice.
Laying beads.
Those are some nickels. That motor mount looks super solid, and our vehicle is really starting to come to life. This thing looks like a really awesome miniature car, and it's got an insane power plant. In the next episode, I want to make some custom suspension and widen this whole thing out because honestly, I think it's a little too dangerous how narrow it is. Definitely gonna flip. We're also gonna be able to plug everything in and hopefully see this thing move for the very first time. We've got some things that I've got to think about and overcome, like always on most bump projects. Our steering is not gonna clear the battery. Whoa, this body's a little heavier than I remember it. But we're gonna have to figure out our steering. We still gotta figure out a box for the battery. We still gotta figure out a lot of things. But I'm very happy with what we got done in this video. Look forward to the next video. We'll see you next time. Have a great one.